in this darkness. When your heart breaks, it doesn't make a sound. It's just a silent pain that hurts like a sledgehammer. You can't comprehend time and space, just that something is wrong, and there's no way to fix it, at least not then. When I found Carly cheating on me with the guy that she told me not to worry about, I didn't rage. I didn't pick a fight with the guy or shout at her, for I was truly taken aback. It was that hurt that leaves you motionless for a while. All I knew was that I had been right all along, even though I wanted to be wrong. I had put her on a pedestal, and she had fallen from grace. That was what I got for falling in love with her. I hoped that this time it would be different, that I had found my counterpart. But love proved to be a dirty liar. There is something about cheating that chips away at your being, the feeling of being inadequate, and the denial that someone you trusted has betrayed you. But she was no different. How I wished that I could burn all those words that I wrote for her in poems and songs for the past 2 years. But all I could do was leave as she shouted after me. She offered excuses that fell on deaf ears, but I did not stop. Somehow I found myself in my apartment. I didn't remember driving to my place, only the hurt that I was trying to keep from making me break down in the middle of traffic. When I got home, I cried. The pain that I felt was the worst thing in the world at that moment. I couldn't help thinking about her and what she had meant to me. I had wanted her to be the one, but I had felt for many months that we were growing apart. I tried to hold on to what didn't feel right. It all made sense now. The secret phone calls, hiding her text messages, canceling our plans. She had been cheating on me for several months, and I had no idea. As I was laying on my bed, miserable as hell, drowning in my own thoughts, I heard a knock on my front door. I made the effort to open the door as soon as I heard that the person behind was Mike, my best friend. Mike was my gay best friend, and he was always nice to hang out with. He kind of had a crush on me, and everyone in our friend group knew it, but he didn't force me into anything or let that get in the way of our friendship. "Seth, why are you not answering your phone? Do you have any idea how long I've been trying to get a hold of you?" he said, but then he paused when he looked at me. "Hey, what's wrong? You look terrible," he exclaimed as he pushed his way into my apartment. "She cheated on me," I said as I closed the door. Saying it made it final. It wasn't a bad dream after all. "I'm sorry, what?" he said. I explained to him in very little detail how I had found her in bed with another man when I went to visit her. I wanted to surprise her and maybe spend some quality time together. He was very empathetic toward me as I explained the whole situation, and when I cried, he held me. "You need to eat something, okay?" he said after I had calmed down. He made some food for me, but I couldn't find it within me to eat. "I feel like drinking instead. Let's go out," I said. "Are you sure though? You're not doing great at the moment," he sighed. "I need to distract myself. I can't deal with this while I'm sober," I said. "If that's what you want, but please don't drink too much, okay? Let me text the others and see which club they ended up going to, alright?" he said as he took out his phone and started texting. Later on, we joined the others at a popular club. Everyone was very kind to me, and they didn't mention my breakup at all, which I was thankful for. I went to the bar and I ordered something strong for myself. I wanted to drink until I forgot the image of her that was replaying in my thoughts. The others drank a lot as well, and we danced until our feet hurt. I got so lost in the feeling of being drunk and carefree. Mike had only restricted me on drinks for the first 10 minutes, but then the vodka hit him hard and he forgot all about it. I danced with him and had so much fun screaming out the lyrics to songs we barely knew. I felt okay for the first time that day. All I knew was the rhythm and the music. We drank until the club ended up closing and we were swaying all the way to the Uber. I was buzzing from the alcohol and I didn't want the night to end. I just wanted to carry on drinking and dancing for the rest of my life. It was late at night and it was difficult to find transport, so I ended up going to Mike's place with him. At his place, the both of us didn't want to sleep, so we stayed wide awake. "Hey friend, are you okay?" he asked me. "I'm better than I felt hours ago," I answered. "She didn't deserve you," he said. "Maybe, but she didn't see me as worthy enough to let me know that she wanted to be with someone else," I smiled tightly. "Come here," he said. I didn't ask any questions. I just scooted over to his side of the couch. Then he pulled me in for a hug, and we stayed like that for a while. I was so glad that I had him. If he wasn't there earlier, I would have drowned in my sadness. "One day, you'll find someone who will love you and be loyal to you," he said. "Maybe I'm a fool for believing that I can be loved," I said softly. I felt like one. My ideas about love had led me not to see what was right in front of me. I thought I wanted to meet a girl, fall in love, and have that whole white picket fence debacle, because that's what my parents had. and so many of my family members. I wasn't getting any younger. I wanted to settle down. You aren't. You're genuine. But love doesn't care about your plans. It comes in its truest form when it wants, he whispered. I looked up at him. We locked eyes. I felt something stir within me that I didn't understand. And I thought I was the poet, I whispered as I sat up. We kept eye contact during that time. I was struck by the urge to kiss him because it was what made sense at that moment. I leaned forward as he did, and then we shared a kiss. We got up as if we were in sync, and we headed to his bedroom. That night, we fell asleep in each other's arms, and I had the most peaceful night in a long time. I wasn't plagued by thoughts of Carly. All I dreamt about was him. The next morning, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I felt so happy and light, and when I looked at him, I couldn't keep the smile off my face. I remembered all that had happened last night, and what I had realized as we took each other's bodies. There was more to him than what I had initially thought. With him, I felt as if I had found something that I had been searching for all my life. You know how when you dream about someone, you almost have an imprint of that dream? When I looked at him, I knew what I wanted. The thing about me was that I was so quick to fall in love. It didn't take me long to know if I wanted to be with someone or not. But as I stared at him, I had a feeling that I shouldn't just let it go. I wasn't as freaked out by the thought that I had just slept with a guy as much as someone would think. Then he opened his eyes, and he nearly screamed. I was alarmed, because I'd forgotten that not everyone reacts to things like I do. He mumbled something about being sorry, and it being a mistake. Hey, chill, we can talk about this properly. There's no need for you to freak out, okay? I reassured him. I had good intentions. I'm sorry if it feels like I took advantage of your vulnerable state, he said. I just simply smiled at how he was being so considerate and worried about me. That was how he was, a tough cookie to crack, but with the softest heart. Will you let me talk, or are you gonna panic for the rest of the day? I chuckled. Okay, he said. I know that you like me, and you have my best interests at heart. Don't apologize about last night. I don't regret it, I said. Yes, slept with a guy, his eyes widened. Yes, I did, and that made me realize something, I replied. What was that? He asked. When I was with you, I felt a connection that I've never felt before, I said. What does that mean? He asked. Go out with me? On a date, I said. I wasn't a person who liked to take anything slow. The best word to describe me would be spontaneous. Life was short, and I wanted to explore every last bit of it. Carly had thrown away my dream of a white picket fence family, and I was glad for it, because I was feeling great that morning. The next day, Mike couldn't stop complaining about his shoes getting dirty, and I couldn't stop laughing about it. I had taken him to one of the hills nearby, and we were climbing up that hill. I wanted to show him the sunset over that hill. We had spent the last 2 days talking all day and non-stop. We gravitated towards each other more than we had in the past. I found it so natural to be around him. I felt that rush of being around a person you were starting to get to like, and it was the best feeling ever. Wow, he said when we arrived just as the sun was about to set. I was silent as I stood beside him, watching one of the most beautiful things in the world. That's true beauty, I smiled. Thank you for showing me, he said as he turned to look at me. His brown eyes glowed from the little bit of sun that was still left. I cupped his cheek and I kissed him. With him, everything felt right. There was no getting to know each other stage because we already knew each other. I knew that his favorite color and fruit was orange, that he hated anything to do with the outdoors, but he always came with me when I needed a walking buddy. That his tooth was chipped because he had fallen while being chased by bees when he was 13. And he knew everything about me, what made me sad or angry, the types of bands that I liked, and that I never drank when I was planning on writing. So one couldn't say that we didn't know each other. We did, but our hearts just needed a little bit of catch-up. For several months, we sort of dated, but it wasn't official. We kept it from our friends because we weren't yet ready to go public. Either of us slept at the other's house one day a week, and we would do everything from watching horror movies together to talking about random things until early in the morning. He completed me. Not to say that we were perfect. Both of us were fiery, and we didn't hold back when we wanted to let out. But our fights were rare, and we made up all the time. One of our good friends, Brian, was the first person in our friendship circle who actually knew that we were together. He walked in on us stealing a kiss when everyone else was over at my place. Oh, I didn't know you two were dating, he said. Oh, we are. I looked over at Mike and he was blank, so I didn't say anything. We hadn't put labels on our relationship or told any of our friends. I guess we were just so lost in each other to worry about things like that. We never officially became boyfriends, did we? He asked when Brian left. I don't think so, I chuckled. He smirked as we both realized that we weren't official. Will you be my boyfriend? He said. Of course, I said as I kissed him softly on the lips. It felt nice to have a boyfriend, especially one as sweet as Mike. When everyone left, we had a nice romantic dinner all for ourselves. I know that I kind of rushed with my proposal earlier, but I wanted to let you know how I really feel, he said. I'm all ears, honey, I smiled. I've liked you for many years, but I never thought that you'd ever be mine. I can't believe how lucky I feel right now, he said. You unlocked within me what I thought was caged. I didn't see my love right in front of me, and I'm sorry. I love you so much, Mike, I said. I love you too, Seth, he smiled as he took my hand. The next week, we brought our friends together to tell them about our relationship. Brian had told no one yet because we requested for him not to. I don't have a lot to say, but I wanted to let you guys know that Mike and I are dating now, I said, blushing a bit. Mike held my hand and gave me that dazzling smile. At last, Sierra said. What do you mean? I chuckled. We've seen you flirting for months. With the way that you guys were so close, we suspected that you were together, she explained. And you both deserve happiness. Congratulations, Ian grinned. Drinks on us for the rest of the night, Mike said. Everyone cheered. We had a blast with our friends for the rest of the night. Then we had to leave early because he had a double shift the next day. When we got to his place, he gave me a pair of pajamas to wear for the night. I was always at his house nowadays. My toothbrush and a few clothes were in his house. I liked being there with him since I lived a bit far from him. I noticed that he was looking as if he was deep in thought. Bae? What's on your mind? I asked him. Well, you are always here, and your clothes are here, he started. Okay, I responded. Would you like to move in with me? He asked. Really? I was pleasantly shocked. I hugged him tightly and screamed that yes, I would love to move in with him. So a week later, we went to my place and got all of my stuff, and we moved it into his apartment. I felt so good to know that I could see him whenever I wanted now, and there'd be no distance to stop us from being together. Every day, I fell deeper in love with him. Who wouldn't? He had been with me in the darkest moments. In that darkness, I had found him and his heart full of love, and I've never turned back since then. Sometimes, love is right in front of you, but you're too blind to see it, or you're not yet ready to see it. It comes only at the time that it wants, and the person you fall in love with might be the least expected person. But that's the beautiful thing about love. It can find you when you think that you've lost it. The end. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force. And stay wholesome. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force. And stay wholesome.